I was on a flight with my kids. We flew from Israel to New York a few years ago for a wedding, 2 years ago. And there was a huge snowstorm in New York. So we flew Swiss Air. I had no idea that they have these daredevil pilots in Swiss Air. But we landed in Switzerland, and I see that off in JFK in New York, the airport is so under snow that I see on the boards, every other flight not leaving from anywhere. And I go online and I see that literally all other flights are just, Swiss Air announces, this is flight whatever, and we're going to be boarding in 15 minutes. Like, it's not possible. I don't know how, but they're doing it. Great. We get to the plane, and when we show up there, apparently, I don't know, they must have had like a meeting or something, all the Swiss, and they're like, just like, we have to fly the plane. We have to fly the plane. We have to. So we're going to get Hans. No, like anybody but Hans. No, get Hans. He's crazy enough. So they got Hans, the insane person, to go fly the plane. Hans got on the thing. He said, hello, this is Hans, and I will be the pilot. Now, generally speaking, they say, if in case of an emergency, blah, 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 Hans said these words, then the emergency happens. And this was this thing, everybody was listening. Nobody was just saying, when's this going to be over? And it was like, they mean over here? And everyone's like, mothers are telling children, I have to fasten my ear thing before yours. So when they fall, just know I love you. Just trying to get this out of the way. Hans flies us, and I'm flying with my kids, and kids are a kapara. I mean, if you have kids and you flew on a plane, just know. No question. They don't. And by the way, and Gehenna will probably be a joke to you because I flew with kids. They're the worst things ever on a plane. So we flew for God knows how many hours. We're finally coming to JFK, and Hans gets on the thing 20 minutes out. Hans gets on the thing and says, yeah, this is Hans again. It seems that they have turned off JFK. They turned it off. Apparently somebody found the off button to the entire airport and said, what do you think that is? Looks like an off button, isn't it? Reckon we touch it? Ooh, and the whole thing just turned down. The whole thing just turned off. He said, so they turned off the JFK, so we will land inside the airport that is the closest to JFK. All right, so Newark is right next to it, and you got LaGuardia, fantastic. We will be landing in Chicago. You know how much I love Chicago. So he turns the thing, that's the closest airport. The only one open, because Chicago's used to this airport. For Chicago, this is summer break. This is a tornado. So we go, and Hans lands the plane masterfully, by the way. It scared me how he landed that plane with such ease. And there we are. We were going crazy. And I said, Eibishter, I know there's a reason why you did this. That's it. And I'm working on myself. The kids are hungry and to get it up. The next morning, we go to and of course, the next morning is Friday morning. Because, why? Why? Who knows? That's why. Because for no reason. So it's Friday morning, and we come to the airport, and now the Baruch Hashem, the snowstorm has subsided. We can fly to New York. There are two Swiss flights going from Chicago to New York. One is leaving at 10:30 in the morning. One is leaving at about 12:30. The 10:31 will make it just in time for Shabbos. The 12:31 will not make it. I come to the airport and I see Baruch Hashem, my family and I were on the 10:30. Baruch Hashem. I come up and like this white kid. Now I say white, not because I'm not like a racist or anything, but he was white, but he had these long dreadlocks, like he was Bob Marley. It was like dreadlocks and an afro. I don't know why he couldn't decide which one to go with that. And he just had this poof on top of his head. But he was white, but he had this. It was a walking dichotomy. So we walks up and he's like, hey, you a rabbi? So I've been asked that in the past by oddities. And my answer is always, no, I'm a priest. It's what I know, weird, I don't know, but maybe I'm hedging my bets or something, but I'm not a rabbi. Because they generally have weird questions, and I'm not interested. But my kids are with me, and like, my Abba's the best rabbi. I'm like, oh, sure. It's like, I thought only on the plane you do this. My Abba's the best rabbi ever. I'm like, all right, okay, there you go. So he's like, Rabbi, can I ask you a question? I'm like, sure. So he said, listen, I'm on the 12:30 flight. He said, I grew up religious, and I come from a very religious home. I kind of left religion for a while, and now I just started to come back. I just started to keep Shabbos again. He said, and the 12:30 flight is not going to make it in time. I said, did you speak to the, he said, yeah, no, I spoke to that lady over there by the Swiss counter. She said, there's nothing she can do. He said, I even asked for, the head supervisor, whatever guy. And I went up to him and I begged him. He said, I even got my father on the phone. And my father is somewhat of a member or something like higher up with points, whatever. We'll try to pay more points to get onto it. Something or not. And the guy kept on telling my father, there is nothing to do. These tickets are made. Both of these flights are very special because of the whole thing. That's how it made. It was in the lottery. Nothing can be changed. He said, what should I do? I said, I don't, this is a tough one. I said, I don't. And I thought to myself for a second, like, what would I do? So I knew exactly what I would do. I would make a deal with Hashem. So I looked at the kid and I said to him, do you believe in Hashem? He's like, well, I said, do you believe in the Eibishter? I said, I know you grew up from, but you good? You believe in him? You got him? She's like, yeah, no, I'm telling you, Mom, I'm coming back. And yeah, I do. I said, so if you believe in Hashem, I believe Hashem wants you home. He wants you home. That's what I think. I think he wants you to get back to New York. I think. So the best thing to do to find out where Hashem wants you is make a deal. Give Hashem something, and b'schutz that say, Eibishter, please get me on this flight. The kid asks me, what's this week's parsha? I said, okay, Bob, this week's parsha was Parsha Shmais. He said, Shmais, that's Shnai Mikra Vecha Targum, right? I'm like, what? He said, how from were you, or how far off did you fall? What is happening right now? Did your father what? How did you pull out that one? He's like, yeah, no, I know this stuff. He looked up and he said, Eibishter, I'll give you Shnayim Mikra Vecha Targum this week if you get me on the 10:30 flight. This is what he said. So I said to him, all right, buddy. Put my hand around his shoulder. I said, listen. I said, give a look. I pointed to the Swiss counter with the lady behind. I said, what do you see? He said, what do you mean? It's the Swiss desk. I said, no, it's the Eibishter. He's like, what? I said, Hashem is infinite. Hashem is everywhere, so there's no desk. That's just Hashem. Yeah, he put that kind of like a vision over there. No, but that's, the lady, that's the Eibishter. Everything, and the supervisor, everything is Hashem. When you walk up to him, you have to walk up and say like you're talking, and it's Hashem, it's your Abba and Shemayim. You have to be fearless and just say to him, please get me onto that flight, and let's see what happens. I said, but you mamish have to believe. I said, okay. So it was already getting late. So I had to go, get your kids through the whole thing takes time. So we took some time to get through security. Baruch Hashem, we get to the other side. And about 15 minutes later, my white kid with the afro comes walking with a big smile on his face. I said, no, what happened? He said, you know what happened. I said, come on, I need a good story, buddy. What happened? He said, I walked up to the same supervisor, the same guy. I walked up to him and I said to him, hi, I'm on the 12:30 flight. Could you please put me on 10:30 flight? And he said, sure, let me see your ticket number. You got it. That was it. That was the whole thing. When you live with the Eibishter, guys, this is my life. I literally, if you would have heard the story before this, this is my life.